Okay, we are live. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Happy Tuesday. And welcome back to Ejima. So, today we are bringing to you live and direct our live, and we're going to discuss a few things that happened last week. Usually we don't really talk about relationships that much, but we couldn't let this topic go because it's been everywhere. It's been trending, a lot of different opinions. So, today we're going to talk about specifically Davido and Chioma got married a week ago. And then there's another popular celebrity, Sharon. She's a Nigerian actress. I know her from Skinny Girl in Transit. I really, really like her. And she got married to someone last week too. So these were like the two headlines last week of relationships in Nigeria that were happening. So my name is Nena, and Ngozi's joining me. I think she's muted and her camera's off. But we're just going to be discussing this very, very, very interesting topic. All right, Ngozi, off to you. Oh, she's on mute. I don't know what she's doing.
Yeah, I was running around. But hi everyone, happy Tuesday. Hope y'all doing good. Yes, Nigerian men, they've been coming for them this past week. And as Dennis said, we weren't live, but we just didn't want to miss. Oh, sorry, I was running up the steps. We didn't want to miss these stories because there's a lot of lessons to take out of it. But as you all are joining, make sure you like the live, like this video,
It's so weird that I can't see you. Like the video.
and trust me, you don't want to see me. Make sure you like this live, and we're going to start getting into it, okay? So, basically, just to start off, I don't know how familiar you are with, but Davido is a very famous Nigerian musician, and he had a wedding a week ago, June 25th. Wow. It's crazy how this time goes. A week ago in Lagos, Nigeria, Victoria Island to be specific. Allegedly, they've been married for a while, at least a year or so. They tragically lost their son. I will never forget Halloween 2022 was such a tragic story. He allegedly drowned. It was very, very sad. But God blessed them with twins a year later, which no one has seen. They really kept it, on the wraps, and I don't blame them because the demise of the first son is still very, very funny and very, very. A lot of it doesn't make sense. So I understand why they're being very, private with their new twins. But yeah. So basically, Trauma and Davido. Let me see if I can share this. Trauma and Davido. Alleged because there's just so much. I'm just thinking about what was going on last week, right? Trauma and Davido allegedly met sometime in what 2015. Um, the story is that they met in university. Is it Babcock or Bank? I can't recall the name of the college university, but they met there and they've been on and off since then. But a lot of people were happy for them, getting married last week. But a lot of people were not happy for them, right? There's a lot of people who felt like this shouldn't be like goals for women because they started dating when they were really young. David, I believe, is just like 31. This was like almost 10 years ago. He was a rising musician at the time. There's a lot of scandals attached with his name. He allegedly has three other women who he has children with, like throughout the course of him dating Trauma. So a lot of people felt like that she didn't make the right choice, that he's a cheater, blah, blah, blah. People have their own feelings. So a lot of people weren't necessarily that thrilled with her deciding to marry him. And it's just interesting, we talk a lot about women and dating and relationships, and I'm just interested just to see the two different takes and the two different mindsets when it comes to topics like this, because you can't really say anybody is wrong per se, but what I would say is that I think that a lot of people are quick to tell other people what they should and shouldn't do when people. What I've learned getting old is that everything is not what it appears, and you don't really know the inside of anyone's relationship, right? You don't know what's going on, you don't know what people are going through, and you don't know why people choose to stay in situations that they choose to be in. You don't know what they're gaining out of it that you may not see, that may not be as visible to you. But both men and women enter things, we're human beings. A smart person doesn't enter any situation if they don't feel like there's nothing to gain from it, and that's just the truth. So a lot of people had their personal takes. Hi, Evie. A lot of people had their personal takes, and a lot of women sounded a little honestly like they was hating low key. You know what I mean? And I had the conversations about it because, despite yes, they've had tumultuous history, and he's had children, but people have to understand it's not giving any excuses. 'Cause this is not a platform where we excuse men. That when they started dating, they were like 21, 22. They were very young. And remember, this is a guy that just take away his music career. His father's extremely rich. He comes from a very, very affluent background. And we know what everyday average Joe's 50K earners put women through, right? So it's not to, I would not sit here and justify cheating, excuse me, no matter how much a man is making. I would never sit there and justify it. But at the same time, you understand some woman's argument that if they're gonna, number one, there's no question of how much this man loves her. It's very obvious from the interactions, the things he does for her, the way he, loves on her publicly. There's no question about his love for her. And number two, they didn't date straight. No one dates 10 years straight. No one dates even 5 years straight. No one's really dating even 3 years straight. They've had extensive long breakups when they've been dating other people, even when her son was alive, right? Even when her son was after they had their son, which is only like that was 2019 when they had their son. So after they had their son, they've had back and forth. So I think that a lot of people are not as aware about their history, and they just look at her marrying him as her accepting his behavior. And I don't necessarily think that both of them are the same. I don't think that we don't know the conversations they've had behind closed doors. You don't know what he's vowed to. He has cheated in the past, but Nigerian men are the best, so we don't know whether he's still a cheater. And let's be real, most guys at that age, I'm not giving excuses, but when you're dating you're in your early 20s, a lot of it is childishness. Like, it's not real. Like, it's a lot of he's dating at that age, at that very young age. It's tricky. I didn't do it for a reason. I don't. There's a lot of things you have to tolerate, especially as a woman, especially with a man that has money, who's an entertainer. The point I'm making is that I don't see Chioma rolling now, Chioma Adeleke, as a victim. And I think that's kind of the narrative that a lot of the media was trying to push, like, oh my gosh, she's done so much to her. Why would she marry him? Oh my God. And it's like, she's not a victim. She's a grown woman. Like, I think she's about 30, 29. Like, she's like, she knows what she's getting herself into. If she's chosen to move forward with him, you know, um, it is what it is. And I don't think it's a lot of our places just to just have so much unsolicited advice for people who don't know us and that are living their life. And she don't, like, she's suffering to me, if you ask me. And of course, nothing is perfect. Everything, you're not living with people you don't know the insides. But for me, the narrative to tell a woman to walk away from a man that she's been dating on and off for almost 10 years, that she lost a child with and now has two children with, I just don't. I don't. I get it. I understand. A lot of people have their mixed feelings about it because they basically feel as if maybe he's not going to change, right? And there's going to just be more and more issues.
I
But I
think.
just,
Mm,
then you could jump in.
sure. Okay, so Petra said, we don't accept his nasty behavior, but may God bless the union. If Trauma is happy, we are happy. That's how honestly I feel. And I
Mhm.
do honestly feel like maybe if Trauma lived in America, I don't think she would have married him. To be fair, I think if Trauma and David were both in America, I don't think she would marry him because I think a part of the conversation people are really missing, and my friend had to bring this up in our group chat because one of my friends was like, "Oh, I don't know how she could do that." I was kind of in the middle, and then he was like, "You guys are forgetting that she's in Nigeria. She's
Mhm.
Davido's ex. If she doesn't marry him, who's gonna marry her?" You can, and it sounds so bizarre because we're like, "Huh? How does that make sense?" Like, this is 2024, but in certain parts of the world, once a woman is associated with someone at the status of someone like Davido, it's gonna be probably a little bit hard for her to date again.
And I don't think it would be hard for in the sense that men wouldn't want her. I think it may just be that now has a certain standard.
Yeah.
So she's dated a certain type of guy, and he's given her a certain lifestyle. Did y'all see her at her bridal party with Van Cleef and Cartier up and down her left hand? Like, she's in a certain life that, like, she may now go meet the next guy who may act the same or may not, but can't give her that lifestyle. And
But
as modest,
who said she cares about that lifestyle? Who
no
said that?
one's everyone's saying they don't. Let's be real. Once you're used to something, it's hard to go down. That's just the truth. That's it doesn't make you a necessarily materialistic person because money is relative. Somebody wearing a $5,000 bag could be like someone wearing $100 bag based on how much money they have. So it doesn't. I'm not because people have a big impression of her not really being that materialistic, like her being like a kind of modest, at least for someone compared to like a lot of like Nigerian Lagos girls, someone who's with a man who's that influential, a family that has that much money, she could be doing a lot more. So she is on the calmer side, but that doesn't mean she still is not used to a certain lifestyle and that she's still not very comfortable and she still wouldn't want certain things in her next partner. That the two things don't have to be like they're not mutually exclusive just because she's not like it's not saying that she's there just for the money, but she's benefiting from the money. That's the point I'm trying to make. It doesn't mean that that's like something that may be like a main factor for her because I don't know her and I don't know, necessarily what she went in for. It may just truly be love and everything else is just like extra, like icing on the cake. But once you're used to a certain lifestyle, it's hard to go down.
I mean, yeah, and then also she has kids with him. I think that that's tricky
That's
too.
that's
Yeah.
the biggest fact that she lost the child with him. So remember when they lost that child and both of them went away and disappeared. Trauma still hasn't been on social media since she lost her son. They both went and disappeared, lost weight. Like look at the pictures when they came out. Was it when he performed at like FIFA and this
Mhm.
at like Qatar, like sometime in December or early January? I can't recall. That situation alone also brought them closer. Not to say that they weren't already close, but that's a very tragic. I can't even imagine. Like it's a very, very, very uh like I don't even want to think about it, but it's a that's that they shared that together, and people don't people seem to forget that like they've been through a lot together, like almost 10 years of dating,
But even if
children.
you've been through a lot with someone, does that mean that person is a person for you just because you've been through a lot with them?
I wouldn't say that, but I do understand the realities and how life works. The more you've been through with someone, especially as a woman, I definitely think the harder it is to walk away from it.
Mhm.
That's just the truth. It doesn't. I'm not going to sit here and say that that means that because you've been with someone for a long time that you should just accept anything they do. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But like we said, there's things that sound good, like theory, like when you're reading a book and they tell you, "Oh, these are the steps," and blah blah blah. Then we also go into the real world and real life, and things may not be as applicable.
Okay. Evie said, even me, I'm happier for David and Choma than Sharon and Odogu silencer. Yeah, this Sharon story.
Oh my God, well, we're gonna get to
So,
that one soon
so
because that one.
honestly, yeah, I'm going to go ahead.
Let me show y'all Davido.
Honestly,
Um,
I really love Davido and Trauma. Like, and it's because even
I
though
love
Davido
that.
does, and I think that's why some people are getting upset because we are showing Davido a lot of favoritism. We really
Mhm.
are because Davido has done so many things that on a normal we would not tolerate.
Oh,
But
this is Lagos State governor. They had six governors at their wedding, six or seven governors at their wedding. And this is our state governor. Abia, stand up. This is OT. He's so little and cute, but he's getting the work done. So let me. I'm trying to show y'all where he was begging. Okay, share this tab instead. Where he was. No, no, no. Sorry, y'all. Sorry, y'all. Okay, I'm gonna share this when he's begging. You know, a lot of these men know how to beg. When it's time to behave well, it's a problem. Let me show y'all. Can y'all
make it
see this?
big. Yeah, make it big.
And I'm going to ask you if you beg for the hand of Chioma, you will say you beg. Abby, can I have the other microphone? Are you begging for the hand of Chioma fortune, or you are not begging? I'm begging. Or you are going to take care of her. Just for record purpose. We know you have sang about it.
I'm such a neutrals person, so I'm always in creams, light blues, earth tones, and these
Talk too much about it. I have only two words: lifetime insurance.
I don't know what happened because it's like breaking up on your end. So basically,
The daughter will be protected,
oh,
and connected. Mommy, daddy, I love you. I say, everybody here doesn't know my own personal relationship, but we know. And I'm happy for the day. This is the happiest day. Hallelujah. Do you need to hear more?
so what was I gonna say? So yeah, that's when he's begging for her hand in marriage. It was really cute. I mean, I didn't catch it live because I was like that day was so hectic for me. So I caught up later in the week, and they really just look happy, and it really looks like they really, really love each other, and they really, really, I just hope Davido doesn't embarrass her again. That's just my only hope. Like
What
I
does
just
embarrassing her look like?
I don't want no more Anita scandals, no
Mm,
more women coming from Paris saying they're pregnant. Like no, it was just too much that was happening at a point back to back. Like I think that's why a lot of women feel like she shouldn't have married him because they're already like predicting the future. They feel like he's still not ready. But at the end of the day, some
you
men,
believe that people don't? Do you believe that people can change?
yes, if they want to change, he has to change because of him, not because of her. He has to want to change. Like, of course, people could change. Same way you meet people that smoke cigarettes for years and one day they just stop cold turkey. But is that the average person? No. The average person does not stop smoking cold turkey. But it
Yeah.
doesn't mean that it's not possible. So with me, I feel, and I always tell people this, I think we don't talk enough about monogamy. And I don't think monogamy is really natural. I think
Mm.
it's learned behavior. And I really think that a lot of men,
You
especially
sound like these. Yo, where's Gino? Gino, get up in here. Gino, where you at?
especially men from the part of the world that we come from, West Africa, Nigeria specifically, they are conditioned to be womanizers. And I think that you can also condition yourself to not be a womanizer. It's
Yeah.
both ways. It's just discipline. It's simply discipline. Any man can do it. But if you're in a society where you cheat and no one does anything, or you cheat and you just get a tap on the hand, a lot of men don't have an incentive to stop
I had a
cheating.
conversation with a guy before, and he was, a lot of men will bring up Solomon and all these things when they want to justify cheating and the behaviors. And what I always will bring up to them is that human behavior is driven by consequences, right? So, for example, if we had a society now that a man knows once he's cheated one time, the woman's going to leave, then I don't think that men would necessarily stop cheating. I think this is the two outcomes: men would cheat less,
Or they stop
will
getting married.
also get married less. Thank you. And I think that's kind of
And that's
where
what's
we're meeting
happening
now
in
in society. Thank you.
2024.
Because I
Yeah.
say all the time, when you meet guys that are older, they're established, it's not that they're struggling, they can't use money as an excuse, because money is a valid excuse. Women have to, it's not easy to raise a family, 2024 inflation. And a lot of them are still like, and you take away maybe sexuality, right? Or any of issues like that. A lot of them, I feel as if, and men, you can correct me that are watchers, I think a lot of them are having a conversations with myself like, can I really do this and be faithful? Like, can I? They don't want to mess up. They don't want to be a divorcee. They don't want to have that on that track, their track record. They don't want to have, oh, one look up. We're gonna get to Sharon Ooja next, but look how the whole thing trending by her man. He's been married 3 times. Like, even for a man, it's just like, damn. Like, it doesn't look good. It's something. It's not a great thing to have on your reputation. Like, you've had all these failed marriages. So I think a lot of men come up and be like, like, can I really? They want the family. They want the benefits that come with it. They want to have that stability. They want to have the security, that woman they can go to and tell her their issues. But if they have to really be real with themselves and ask themselves the hard questions, can I really be faithful? Can I really not cheat? Can I really not, and I have a lot of Nigerian friends, and they'll say, guy friends, and they'll say, Nigerian women on average are definitely more, they're more forgiving, they're more tolerant, they're more accepting, and that's why, you have the issues of, marriage, divorce not being as big of a deal there, not as common there. And of course, there's other factors, like it's harder to get a divorce. You know what I mean? There's a financial aspect. Women aren't as empowered. They don't have their own money. There's so many factors that go into it. But I do believe people can change, but I don't believe that people change because of someone else.
Hmm.
I think that is a decision that you have to make. And there may be various reasons why you choose to change, but I don't think that people just change because of, I think it usually takes a really traumatic experience, like example for Davido, the loss of his son. Like something like really, really like crazy happened to you to give you like another perspective, another look at stuff, just change where you were living, kind of force you to wake up and start doing things differently. Or you just come to a point in your life where you're just tired of your excuses, you're tired of the lifestyle, you're tired of, not doing things the right way, you're tired of, just not being where you want to be. But I don't personally think that, oh, if you love, because some women will throw that out like, oh, if he really loved me, he won't do this, or if he really loved me, I don't subscribe to that. I think it's deeper than just liking or loving someone. It's a personal decision.
Hmm. Petra said their wedding seemed very authentic. Yes, even her outfits weren't overdone. I loved it. I loved it too. But some people are hating and saying they expected more from Davido. A lot of people were saying that. Lil hey, this looks like a good solid couple. 10 years invested in two kids, the same nationality. They look equally yoked. Yeah, they are really, really a cute couple. Pep said, I don't know if he's changed, but there's definitely a spiritual component connected to everything that happened. He needs to be very careful who he is forming soul ties with. And I think that's one thing sometimes men don't pay attention to. They think
Around.
it's fun and games. You don't understand. I always tell men, like when you hurt a woman or you do something to a woman, you take advantage. You know how many women are probably jealous that they messed with Davido and he never married them. Now he's marrying Chioma. I'm sure a lot of women in his past are very jealous of Chioma, right? So men have to keep that into consideration sometimes that women, when they're really hurt and they're really bitter, they can go to drastic measures.
What's the thing? There's nothing like a scorn.
A woman that's scorned, yeah, there's like a quote or something. So I think that's a really, really good point. Yeah, I understand why they're not showing their new children because,
That's
yeah,
what I said. I definitely understand. There's certain things when you may think people are a little, oh, they're too this, or you're being a little too. But when you experience certain things, you understand why people are the way they are, like why they really like tight fists with things because things are happening, and you don't want to think that because you did this, then that's the reason why that happened. So
he said this is a man that covers his drink in public with a napkin, even at his own wedding. Really, I didn't notice that he was covering his drink with his he was covering his drink with a napkin. Interesting. I mean, I don't know, but who wants to live life like that, being so paranoid? That's the annoying thing. It's like, how do you find that balance? But okay, anyway, so that's Chioma and Davido. I personally think a lot of women are jealous because their men are cheating and don't have money. So they're hating that.
let's go there.
I
Let's
personally think because
go there.
I don't support cheating. I don't support cheating at all. And I really think part of the reason why a lot of women, modern women, are single is because we are not going to tolerate what our mothers and grandmothers tolerated, right? So that's another thing I think that we don't talk about enough that's implicating relationships because we don't tolerate cheating the way older women tolerate it. They just said that's how a man is, get over it. As long as he does it respectfully. A lot of them will say that respect.
I'm here respectfully, cheat.
I think you can respectfully cheat, but period cheating is disrespectful.
Disrespectful. Yeah, I agree. I agree.
There's a way that you can cheat a little bit more. It's like I see some men the way they move, and it's just like to me they're
Very
really,
sloppy and they don't care. They're not
they're
even trying to hide it.
not even scared. They're doing it in front of their friends, doing it in front of other single women who know their wives. That's an insult. Like that's so disrespectful. But period, cheating is disrespectful. So I think a lot of women just feel a type of way because they're like, wow, my man doesn't have anything and he's still acting up. And like, look at Trauma. Like I do think some people are truly concerned about her because I was in the middle. But I do think there's a lot of women that are just really, really jealous, and they would, because if Davido came up to them, they would talk to him. I don't think they will say, "Oh no, you're
Right
a
now, like
cheater."
he's a married man, and Davido comes up to them, they will mess with him. What are you talking about? Talk less of when he was single. Right now, as a married man, there's women that will line up thousands, millions to just have 1 hour with him. So that like is a lot of hypocrisy. But I do think that's but I do think for some people it is coming from a place of genuine concern. But my thing is that Trauma is a very respectable, quiet. The way she moves is something that it's kind of how people talk about May energy. Like she moves with a lot of class.
Yeah, she's
Trump
classy.
has never come out and complained for us. She's never said, "Pray for me. I'm gonna go through." David was putting me through this. Oh my God! Made some cryptic post and deleted it. She's not messy like that. So where I say it is that I can't complain more than the person who's going through something. She's not complaining. She she
She's not
she
complaining publicly because that's not her, but I'm pretty sure she complains to the people that are close to her.
but she's not going anywhere. So at the end of the day, it's like the point I'm trying to say is that Trauma is not. We're going to get to the next story, right? Trauma, to me, the scenarios are very different.
Okay.
She's not being deceived. No one is telling her. She knows what she's got herself into,
And that's
right?
the point I'm going to talk about. So I think, how do you feel about women who date celebrities, basketball players, football players? Do you
One,
feel
I
like
can
those women have to? Do you feel like those
women
women know
have to
what's
be
up?
real about the lifestyle. Yes, they may still complain. No woman wants her man cheating on her, no matter if the man is making $70 billion a year. No woman's gonna want it. But I do believe when you deal with a certain type of person, a certain lifestyle, you have to take the good and the bad. It
Hmm.
comes with it, and that's why I say I don't. To me, Trauma can never be a victim because she knows it. To me, I look at it like she knows what she's getting herself into from when she met him. Even forget his singing; he's a rich guy's kid. So that already comes with, the way women rush after men that come from good families and have money in somewhere like Nigeria. He already is coming with all these other things. And of course, sometimes people say you can't, I don't know if I truly agree with you can't help who you love. Yes and no.
You
because
can't.
you also because you also give them a chance. If you see
Mm.
someone's lifestyle, like, nah, I can't. Some basketball player trying to talk to him like, yeah, nah, I don't date celebrities. I don't even give you a chance. How am I going to fall in love with you? I didn't even give it a chance to even for
But
anything.
why would you not give a basketball player a chance?
I don't like the lifestyle. Not to be serious, I know I don't like the lifestyle, and that's the point I'm trying to kind of make. Is that it's not to say all of them are bad and some of them are faithful, yes, but we know the majority. We know what regular men are doing to women. Okay, we know how they're even behaving. If you're dealing with a certain guy, a musician, an athlete, a rapper, you kind of have to take that lifestyle. That's a part of the is a part of the package. You can't really take it away from it, and it's not justifying it, because I'm not saying because you're making money or you this that you have the right, but these men face a whole nother level of temptation. They have
Right.
a whole nother like, come on, let's be real. Like, most men are only as loyal as their options. They have women ready to risk it all just to even say that they took a picture with them. You see the video they released the day, or what, the close to his wedding, the girl him begging some girl to get it in. Like, people are so like, how do you record that and put that up there? Women are coming from right, left, center. You don't know their motives. You don't know their intentions. They even trying to. Everyone's even trying to get rich now. They're just trying to get something they can use against you and send it to vlogs and trend. See how Anita was trending? 1, 2, 3. She disappeared. Allegedly, she was pregnant by him. Allegedly, that I don't even believe most of that story. She was just trying to be relevant, and she trended. And see how many followers she gained, like in a week or so, or whatever.
I know. The only reason I
I
kind of
think she
believe
was
her,
well.
the only
No,
reason I kind
it
of
messed
believe her is
around.
that I don't think a woman would embarrass herself like that just for followers, because she
You feel
embarrassed
shock
herself.
you.
She
She
humiliated
they
herself.
messing around. That's not an argument that she
Right.
knows he knows her. What I'm saying is she pregnant by him? That's
Oh,
the question. That was what was
yeah, they
questionable.
definitely messed around.
Yeah, they definitely. That's not an argument. But there's a lot of women who look cute, and then later she was talking about trauma, and I don't want to be these women. They dumb. They blah 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 blah. Like you said, I do think a lot of the women is jealousy.
They are jealous because David will pick Trump.
Yeah, like she's the main girl, and like all of them are on the side doing whatever they want, but they can never take her place. So a lot of these women are trying to talk down to her, but you messing with him. So you worried about what she's doing and not doing, and she's staying and not staying. But why are you messing with him to begin with? You know he's in a relationship or he's married. What you stand to gain from him?
Mm.
Is
Evie, Petra, Evie said, what spiritual component? The fact that he's superstitious with his drink. Evie said, even regular people who get married with simple weddings, women are jealous of that. It's just a higher case of misery among the masses. That's very unfortunate. But I think we have to just really be careful with social media. And I think that's why sometimes I have such a love-hate relationship, even though I know I need to post more. I need to be on Instagram more. I'm hearing that I deactivated. I'm always taking day breaks because I just feel like Instagram is not real.
overwhelming.
It's not real, right? So a lot of times I think a lot of women are comparing themselves to celebrities, and celebrities are only showing you the good parts of their life. They're not
Right.
showing you what they're really going through. You
A
don't
lot of
know.
it is
You don't
mhm.
really know what they experience the same things that we experience. They have highs, they have lows, just like us. Like they're normal. I feel like sometimes we forget that they're normal human beings that have normal issues. So comparing yourself to Choma and Davido, you're just wasting your time. Like they're not the average people. They don't live the average life,
Yep.
right? So why would I sit around and be jealous of Choma and Davido when I know Trauma has gone through a lot with him that I probably wouldn't put up with a man with, right? So like I can't only like the good parts of her life and not want the bad parts. I can't only want the designers and and the money and the private jet, but not want the other things she's gone through. That's not fair. So I just really think we have to be careful, especially as women. And as you're aging, you want to settle down, you want to get married. It's very easy to get caught up in all of this wedding stuff. I remember years ago, I was in my 20s. I unfollowed Bella Naija.
I
Yeah,
never followed them. I never
I
followed.
remember it was making me feel uneasy. It was
Really?
making me feel, yeah, like I just felt very, I don't know, I just felt overwhelmed by all the wedding posts and everything. It would just make me, I felt like it would make me think about not being married more. And I was like, okay, I need to unfollow this because this is not good for my,
Your
like,
mental.
yeah, it's not good for me. So I do think we just need to be conscious as people, especially as women, like with the stuff, with the people we follow. the stuff we watch, things we read, the music we listen to, because we don't that all affects us on a daily basis, whether we like it or not. So Evie Petrus talk about the spiritual component, the passing of their son, cheating scandals, having children on the side. Okay, so spiritual component. Interesting. We're Nigerians, everything always gets spiritual.
How do you feel about, like, some people have the saying, okay, it rains everywhere. So this is some of the people that kind of have the defense of Chioma made the right decision. Because
Mhm.
let's be, we talked about the, unfollowing Bella Naija and a lot of things that come with, especially as women getting old and desire to be partnered. And the older you get, the more you're realizing that, like, a lot of this stuff is the same. Like, it's nothing really changes, right? Like, it's the same stuff you're dealing with. So some people make that defense of, like, it rains everywhere, in a sense that, like, you got to pick your poison, right? Like, you can't have it on. I think that's probably, comes down to the Disney films and a lot of the lies that women have been sold, modern women in particular, is that, like, we can have it all. And even the most successful women have come out and denounced that and say you can have it all, but not at all at the same time. And that there's always a sacrifice and something has to give. But I think that a lot of, like, we talk about the word settling a lot on this channel. And I know it's, the three words that are very triggering in the dating relationship field: settling, feminism, and what's the other one? Settling.
Submissive.
Submission. Yes, those are the three. You want to trigger men and women, bring up submission, bring up feminism, especially in the Black community, and bring up settling, because nobody needs to settle. I can't settle for anyone. Low key, the person you're with is settling for you in some aspects, but nobody wants to settle, right? So I do believe that it just this really fine line between you saying that, like, it rains everywhere, because then it also can make people feel as if their bad situations are tolerable, because you feel as if it always, like, you can't really, what I'm trying to say, it makes you kind of feel as if, like, you're negative. Yeah, gaslighting. That's the most popular word, I think, in 2023. I think that was the most popular word, gaslighting. Everyone's a gaslighter and everyone's a narcissist. That's another
Yeah.
one. Gaslighting.
Yes, number 5.
Everyone's a narcissist. People are diagnosing every man. Even this one we're about to get into is a narcissist, quote unquote. So I think that it's hard, because you don't want to get to the point where you're crying and you're running away for everything, because you
Mhm.
have religious expectation, but you don't want to get to the point where you're accepting just really bad behavior because it, quote unquote, rains everywhere.
Right.
It rains everywhere. So he has a child on the side. It rains everywhere. Oh well, he gave me one hit here and there. It rains everywhere. Like, there is, like, I guess what some people had an issue with is making Chioma, like, goals and the standard. I don't look at Chioma as goals or the standard, but I do believe, based on her situation and her history, she made the right choice
Hmm.
as of now with the information that I have, because I don't see, and I don't think that should be hard for people to grasp, because based on what she has to lose and stands to gain from a situation, and like I say, you have, like, young kids, like, she has kids that are not even 1 years old now. I don't understand where people want her to go. Like, I don't get it. Like, and it's like, I keep put it's not because we don't
But
justify the.
because you have kids with a man, that means by force you must marry him?
No, but like you said, this is not a scenario where you just got pregnant by someone you were dating for 2 months and you just had a child. These are different scenarios. Talk about someone that they were supposed to get married since 2019, but the pandemic came. They were supposed to get married in 2020. The pandemic came, paused everything. Then they tragically lost their son in 2022. So it's not like this is not someone she just met 4 months ago and had children by, and then she's trying to jump. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like people are not looking, like, there's a bigger picture. Their situation is very nuanced, is very different. There's a lot that goes with it. So it's not to say that any woman has a child with a man, just marry him. No, that's not what I'm saying. But for their particular situation, I don't think it's fair for people to give her heat. Like, you telling her not to marry him, what y'all want her to do? Because when she goes now and go gets another guy and starts dating him, and her children are not even 1 years old, those same people are going to be talking about, oh, you're rushing to date another man. You have babies. How about if that man touches on them? Those same people moving their lips and their dirty mouth to be condemning her when she's dating another man with 6 months old children or 9-month-old or 1-year-old kids. They're gonna be judging her.
She can stay by herself. Why does she have to date
She's a
anyone?
young girl. Chioma's not even 30 years old. She's not staying. This is gone are the days of our mothers. She's not staying by herself. She's gonna go and start dating somebody else. That's just the truth. She's a young girl. She's not gonna. Why would she stay by herself? Why? She's gonna want that partnership. She's gonna go. She's going eventually gonna want to be married. Like, it's life is not. It's not that simple sometimes.
Patricia said the enemy was rejoicing indeed. This marriage shames the devil, and if he changes for real, God will get the
Yeah,
glory.
I'm being optimistic. I do believe that, like I said, because they were dating, Davido was so young. they were all both of them are babies. I do believe that Davido has changed.
I
I
hope he
want
got it all out of his system.
what?
I hope he got it all
Yeah,
out of his
like I personally, I'm really optimistic and hopeful that he's changed and he's gotten that all out of his system, and like he's ready to, excuse me, he's ready to be a serious guy because I feel like they've just gone through so much that like why would he now come to be start messing up again? I just pray, I wished him the best, and I just I get it. Some people
Oh, Chivito 2024.
there, so I'm giving her the congrats. I'm so happy for her. But yeah, those are the two people. If you guys are just joining, make sure you like this video. Like. We're talking about Davido and Chioma. Davido, a Nigerian artist, and his new wife, Chioma Roland Adeleke. So yeah, we're gonna go to the right side, right? And this story was just I'm still grasping because I was doing a lot of research on it just today, and it's just a lot to take in. So please like this video. So on the right side, the right hand side, we have a couple. Sharon Ooja, she's the lady, and I really know her from Skinny Girl in Transit back in the day. Back in the day, she played shallow.
Yeah, shallow. Mhm.
That's how I really know Sharon Ooja, and she got married to this guy Emmanuel Ugo Nwoke June 27th, 2024. So that week, last week, people were making memes like the single people, like we just need to go sit down and just close our eyes because we were being oppressed. From Davido and Choma's wedding on Tuesday, a week ago. Then on Thursday was Sharon Ojo and this Emmanuel Nwoke's wedding. And I won't even lie. I think EB has sent me something, or I was seeing it on Instagram, and she ate like her outfits. It was so beautiful. The guy is so
I
good.
didn't really see anything at her wedding yet. I'll
Oh
go to
my gosh! Like people were even comparing the weddings, saying that like her wedding was like nicer than Davido and Choma's. Like no, Davido and Choma, like I said, their wedding. I didn't really. I don't know. I wasn't really seeing that much of like the actual decor and stuff, but like you know,
either.
they've been married for so they've been dating for so long. They were already married. You know what I mean? Like I don't think they were really having a wedding trying to do too much. Like they were just trying to just have the wedding and just say like they've had it and move on with it. They already have children. You know what I mean? Like a wedding is not going to mean the same thing for them than people who don't have children, people who are newlyweds or haven't been dating each other for a long time. So I don't really think it's a fair comparison. But let me show y'all a video real quick so you guys can really see because let's see this.
Oh, that's beautiful. Woo, that outfit is
She has like
beautiful.
five outfits, like and her man. Woo! This man is 47, 49 allegedly. We're gonna get into his tea because his tea is too much. But like she got her stuff. She's from Benue State. She's a Idoma girl,
Oh,
and
really?
she married a Igbo guy from Imo State. So you got that cross tribal thing. That I'm pulling this from
I didn't know
Asidar.
she's from Benway.
Yeah, she's from Benue. She's a northern girl. Let me see.
Wow. Love unites us 24.
Let me
So
see.
why is her tried in Abuja? Why not in her? Isn't it supposed to be in her village?
I mean, maybe the security issue. The North has their. I don't know if
What dress is that the dress Vicky James made?
I don't know if Vicky James made this one, but she made her wedding gown. Her wedding gown 8. Look at this.
Ooh, wow.
Like
Beautiful.
Sharon Oja, like her outfits. Wow. Like wow. Like she did not come to play. She did not come to play. Like she's a stunning, gorgeous bride. Let me put. Yeah, look at her and
That looks
daddy.
good too. He don't look like he's almost 50.
Daddy, we're gonna get to him. Daddy, let's.
You're annoying.
Look
You're
at this.
so annoying.
She have the Isiagu skirt and doing her little Igbo look with her Igbo
Wow.
hands.
All her outfits are beautiful. Wow.
Hey, like if you want to hate, you can hate, but you can't say she didn't go in with her outfit. She did not come to play. She did not come to play. So yeah, this is all for Acid Darling's page. She's a YouTuber. She's a wedding planner, but let me go back to this shit. So yeah, so their wedding was on Thursday, and it was like the talk of town. So last week, all of us single people were being oppressed because the pressure was too much. But basically, after the wedding, Nigerian people, my people, trust them. They have time. They started digging, and a lot of stuff have been coming out about this guy. Let's start first with how she even announced their engagement. Okay, she announces a picture of their engagement on, I think, sometime in March, and his face is not showing. Like it's her looking in the camera. Let me see. Sharon, let me pull it on John
I mean,
engagement.
I respect her being private because it's hard. It's hard nowadays because I'm a private person, right? So I respect people that are private, but I think people get confused of what
Private
private
and secretive.
is.
There's a difference.
Yeah, and if you're really, I feel like a truly private person wouldn't post the picture at all.
Yeah.
To be honest, if you really want to be private, I feel like you wouldn't even post a picture of anyone. No one would even know from your page that you're getting engaged or getting married.
Let me show y'all this. This is Post Nigeria. This is what she posted. This picture right here on the left on her Instagram. This is suspect. Why are you posting a man showing your engagement and you're not showing his face?
And this one, she's in front of him.
Like, what is that? It's like, it's kind of like one of my cousins always talks about how sometimes when people are too private, it's because they're not really proud of what they're doing. And I always, we have our arguments back and forth, and I'm like, no, that's not true. That's not always true. But I guess, I'm sorry, let me go back to sharing on this screen. I guess, now I could kind of understand, I get what she's saying when she says that, because a lot of people will say that I'm private. I don't really want to, I don't really want people in my business, blah, blah, blah. But usually there's a reason behind the privacy. Is because you're somehow not really secure in what you're doing. You don't want the backlash that comes with it. You're doing something that isn't, maybe favorable, or that isn't common, or that people are most likely going to have their comments or opinions about. You don't want people's unsolicited advice, which is valid. But usually when people are extremely private, it's not just because they're private people. It's a lot of times it's because what they're doing kind of doesn't really make sense, right? And they don't want people's opinions. So she posted that, and then she ends up posting their wedding last week. And of course, given I said Nigerian people, they have the time, right? People start pulling, and digging this guy's background, pulling, pulling their background. Look at Evie's saying the video of this engagement announcement back in March came. Girl, I didn't even see it till today because I don't follow her, but I just know of her, and I'm just like, that already is, to me, it's a huge red flag. We keep saying, no, no, oh,
Another red flag. Look at this one. Saw they only knew each other for 3 months before he
yes,
proposed.
let me get to let's land. Let's get into the story. So allegedly, they already got married. Well, I believe sometime in March. When they met is not necessarily confirmed, but as of November, they knew each other because she allegedly slipped something to Vicky James. That's one of her designers. I don't know how many of her offers that she made about the guy she's talking to, and that she's gonna make her dress for her wedding. Blah blah blah. So allegedly, they met, talked for 3 months, got engaged. 2.5, 3 months, got engaged, and were engaged for like 2 or 3 months and got married. So if they got married in March, you do the timeline, they met sometime in the fall after a really hard time in her life. Bad breakup, those seasons you're vulnerable, women, we know what we go through. And she meets this guy allegedly through her sister. And from then, it was like the love of her life. So what people were able to pull out is that this man, Emmanuel, Ugo Woke, has been married. I see. I'm saying Woke has been married 3 times. 3 times before, right? Three previous marriages. First one was Caucasian lady. The other two were Nigerian ladies, and the most recent one was December of 2022 in Nigeria. For y'all, if they're not that good in math, it's 18 months ago. It's 19 months ago because we're now in July. So very recently. And that one allegedly broke because she found out stuff about him, blah, blah, blah. So allegedly, this guy doesn't have the best of past. He doesn't have the best history with women. Some are saying that he's an abuser. Some are saying he's narcissistic. Some are saying that he manipulates women, that this is his MO. He likes to rush into things. And we always talk about this, Nana, too. When people talk about how long you need to date, I get it. People will say, oh, you can date someone for 5 years, you never know them, which is true. And that's
Mhm.
why I don't believe in long term dating, because I truly believe whatever you see whatever you didn't see in the first maybe 6 months to a year, it's not that it wasn't coming up, but maybe you were just blind to certain things, or you didn't really have your senses up, your guards up, and or you may have seen it, but you decided that you're okay with it. So even as years pass by, nothing's really going to change. But despite people saying time being overrated, which I agree with to a point, it doesn't mean that time still isn't important.
Right.
Because with time, a lot of things come out. I'm telling you, give things to give what they say, you give people time, they start to tell on themselves. With time, you start to really see how somebody moves, how they think, the things they say, the way that their routine. You start to catch up on a lot of things. So I always say all the time, because I've been in these scenarios, a guy trying to move too fast to me is a red flag,
Red.
especially a guy who has things to lose. Like you're not to me, it's a huge red flag for the most part. I don't you meeting somebody talking about a 2, 3, 4 month marriage timeline, to me it's a red flag. Yes, there are people who got married in 2, 3 months and are married for 30 years. We know those stories, but then let's be real, they're not the majority. Like that's not the average, that's not common. And just because it worked for a few people doesn't mean that's gonna work for everybody. There usually is something behind that. But of course, women, my gender, we have to speak to women, especially after being in a bad situation, having heartbreak. A lot, at that time, you're in a vulnerable situation. So you meet a guy who's basically checking up all these boxes, and you thought maybe you don't know the next time you're gonna find someone. Your hair may be almost close to giving up on love, and you find this guy. Of course, because maybe of the situation that you're in, I think that time may mean different things, right? Because 3 months dating someone when you're like 100% yourself, you're not like grieving, you're not like healing, you're not like going through anything, versus 3 months when you just gotten out of a bad situation. I definitely think that can make a difference. So she marries the guy, and as of even a couple of hours ago, she made a post defending her stance. I'm
Are
gonna
you
pull it up.
serious?
Because
That's
the
coming
pressure
along.
pressure. People have to be sent. Do you see the way she's trending? People are adding her. People all over the place are adding her. She's the fourth wife. She's not the fourth wife. She's the
I would
fourth.
just deactivate my Instagram if I was
She's the
her.
fourth woman that the man has married.
If she's truly happy with her decision, I would deactivate my Instagram and enjoy my
Let
honeymoon.
me
I
tell
would
you
tell
why
you right
people. Let me tell you why people tell on themselves. Because even watching some of her clips of her wedding vows, she's telling her bridesmaids that don't be so concerned about a guy's past. When
line.
people start saying certain things, is because like I basically feel like she knew. I personally feel like she knows what she got into, but not the full story. She doesn't really know this guy. Like she knows, like maybe he's been married before. I don't know if she knows 3 times. She knows that he has children. People are still speculating how many children he has. Some are saying four. Some are saying just one daughter. Other people are saying one daughter and 3 sons. She has to know some stuff, but I don't think she knows the magnitude of what this guy, because like we said, because with time reveals things.
Hmm.
So there's only but no matter if you even if you guys are talking for 5 hours a day, there's only but so much you can reveal to somebody in a few months.
Isn't he living in America and she's in Nigeria?
Yes, that's another situation. That's another thing. But let me pull up this and then continue. Just speak to the subscribers. Let me just try and pull up this thing. Yeah, she just posted 4 hours. When I checked, it was 2 hours. That's 4 hours ago now. She just
I'm gonna
posted.
put the link in the chat if anyone wants to join, if anyone has anything to contribute to our conversation today about either of these situations.
She said, I am unrepentant and and unapologetic child of God, child of light, a Jesus baby to the core. So basically, she stood basically standing by her choice. Like, I did this. I don't have regrets yet. Hopefully, she doesn't have to have any regrets. But like basically, I know what I'm getting myself into, and she posted that 4 hours ago. So people have really, really been coming at her hard because it's almost like she brought up that Jesus baby part. Religion in Nigeria is a whole other conversation. We're not going to get really too deep into that. But she's known to be someone who's outwardly expressive about her relationship with God, being godly, being a Christian. I mean, praying, all these things. So it's not to say that because you're a Christian that you can't marry a divorcee. But like you wouldn't think that someone who's like really like into God and Christian will marry a man who's been married 3 times. It's,
I don't see the relevance. I don't see why not.
let me land, especially a 33-year-old woman. That's what people have to keep emphasizing on. She's not a 43-year-old woman who has kids and been married before. Then we'll say, okay, she's marrying this guy. She has her past too. This is her first marriage. She's a 33-year-old. People are saying, oh, she's young. People also have to remember they're in Nigeria. So for a 33-year-old woman to be single is not like a 33-year-old woman in America being single. She
Mhm.
still is approaching that time, like where she's definitely going to be becoming more and more desperate. She talked about praying to God and asking, like, when is her husband coming? And all these things. So like people are saying, like, her age shouldn't be bothering her, but I think that's a little bit insensitive because unless you understand the culture, like it's gonna bother any woman 30 plus in Nigeria that is single is gonna start thinking, like what's going on? Because there's a lot of pressure in that part of the world for women to be married and to be, attached to a man. So for her to be, young, not married before, and then marry this allegedly 30, because to me his age is not even that big of a deal, but people still are harping on his age. He's 47 or 49. They're still going back and forth to what his age is, which basically the same thing. But this man is significantly older than her, has been married 3 times, has multiple children. Is that what you feel as if is in God's plan for you? You know what I mean? It's almost like, is that what you feel as if God took you this far to bring you to a man who is that much older than you and has so much history? Like, it's not the point I'm trying to make is that, like, in in a regular, all things being equal, that's not the ideal partner. That I'm sure that's not the man she prayed of over and a man that she saw in her future, a man who is that much older with that much baggage. And then allegedly people are saying he has money, but that's being debunked and that's being questioned whether he has, as much money as has been speculated, whether he's really, a billionaire, whether he's as wealthy, because no one has heard about this guy. It's Sharon that really, she's the celebrity. She's the one who's, has a big following, who is a very successful actor, really good actor. She's the one that, I feel like she's like the big person in the couple in terms of notoriety, stardom, all those things. So I think another lesson to pull from, a lot of these situations, like you talked about, Nana, about being on Bella Naija and unfollowing, is that the problem with social media is that people put up their best parts of their
Not
lives, right?
real. It's not real.
So someone will go. People are making videos. I think Toka made one video about it. How last week the single people, like they're tired. Like people will go there and really be letting these things get to them, really feeling like that competition, that pressure. But it's like you don't know the inside. Like now that everything is coming out, not even a week to her wedding, not even a week to her wedding, and people are pulling all this information up, all pictures of his ex-wives, what he allegedly he left one with dad. Then he's this, he's that, he's manipulative, he doesn't have money, he's this and that. Look what people are pulling up in a matter of days.
I just feel like AV says no money is enough to be a fresh woman in your early 30s to marry a 3 times divorcee with 4 kids, allegedly. I honestly blame the sister if she knew these
And
things.
that's the point I'm making, Evie, is that it's
No, I disagree with this because I feel as if why do people care so much about this guy's past? If Sharon at 33 years old is okay to marry a 3 times divorcee with 4 kids, why are people
that's
bothered?
the point. We don't believe she knows his full past. That's the point. She doesn't know, trust me, she doesn't know his full past. She doesn't. She does not. She may know bits and pieces. Yeah, I've been
You
married.
don't know that. You believe she
I
doesn't know,
don't
but that's
believe
not
the alleged
confirmed.
story. She knows stuff. Trust me, she knows that he's been married. That's not a question. She knows that, he has a child at least because allegedly she bought his daughter a Gucci headband. It was like a big deal. They were making about it. Like she knows he has a daughter. Yes. But what I'm saying is that like we know we've been there. We're women. A lot of men don't tell you the full story because they know that the truth won't get them the outcome they want. And even if they tell you bits and pieces, there's a way that they spin it. They're not telling you they're not telling you it without their own personal bias. They'll tell you, "Oh, this woman was crazy. Oh, this woman left me. She just wanted me." You know what I mean? Like they'll tell you their story, their side, but it's not really balanced. It's very like victim. We know a lot of men, they're very good at playing victim, like this girl just did this, blah blah blah. So what I'm saying is that she's not a child. She's 33 years old, yes, but I don't think that she knew. She knows. I think she's finding out stuff now. The way we're finding out stuff, I think she's finding out a lot of
I
stuff.
agree with Evie. I think she may know, but she found out too late after she fell for him. She knows. She knows she's a smart girl. She's in the media. She's an actress. I'm sure she was Googling him. I'm sure she did a little bit of research. I don't believe that she didn't know all of this. But things like Evie said, when a woman falls for a man, there's a lot of things you say you would never do or you would never tolerate. Same women that say they'll never take care of a man. There's many women in America taking care of a man. It's the
Mm-hmm.
same women that say they'll never deal with a guy in jail. America has a lot of women dating men in jail. When a
Mm-hmm.
woman falls for a man and she's vulnerable and she really, really falls for the guy, you see women doing things for a man they thought they never could do.
But let's tie it back to kind of like the whole we talk about the conversation about kind of being desperate. Don't you feel like it's not to say that we don't know the full stories. Of course, we don't really know what people are going through. But you don't think that a lot of these women low key there's an element of desperation attached when women just look past certain things or they don't really pay attention to things that are important or they just kind of like let things slide or they're not really because I feel like they'll cover it up with I'm so in love with this guy or I'm so into him. I think a lot of it's just being desperate because I when you really want something, right? When you really want something, you will convince yourself that that thing is for you. And anyone that comes to tell you anything that may even be sensible, they're jealous, they're a hater, they don't want my good. When women, especially, we know our agenda. When a woman really wants something, especially when it comes to relationships, she'll block out a lot of red flags. She'll ignore a lot of things. She'll look past. We've all been there. You'll look past a lot of things that this doesn't really look well. This is kind of funny, but you want what you want. So I think that I think a lot that's like I keep saying I don't want to look at these women as necessarily being victims, right? Because I don't subscribe to that. I feel as if it's not that the women isn't for example, someone like Sharon, you can argue that she did know, but they know, but they don't they're not they may know these things, but they're kind of still in denial to an extent, or they kind of twisting the narrative, or they kind of just they're they're putting it in a way in their heads that makes it like they're justifying a lot of these things. Like it's not that big. You said it was not that big of a deal. He has 3 kids. That's kind of the narrative they're telling themselves. I love him. He's a good man. The men who don't have kids, they're not serious. You know what I mean? They're not trying to do this. So I feel as if you're kind of giving these are not things that you would settle for in a normal scenario. But because you like the person already and you've already fallen, you start to excuse a lot of things.
But that's life. That's just how life works, right? That's the reality of life. When you like someone, you're able to look past certain things. Like for example, um, like let's say a lot of girls be like, "Oh, I want a man that's 6 foot." A lot of women say that, but they'll end up with a guy that's 5'8" if he treats them really good, right? But that's not really what they wanted. If they could pick their dream man, he would be 6 foot or taller. So I don't think I get what you're saying. I don't think it's ideal for a single woman that's never been married to marry a guy with this type of history. But at the same time, it's like if we want to call ourselves Christians, are we the same people that say don't judge?
Right.
So at the same time, a lot of women are sitting around 38, 39, 40, single, not married because they looking at a lot of these things. And the
Yeah.
reality is that when you get older, you are going to start meeting men with more baggage.
Yeah.
That's
That's
the truth. So
mm,
someone could argue, is it better for her to get married at 33 and at least have her children, or sit around like many women in America, 38, 39, 40, and never been married, no child? You know what I mean? Some people could literally make that argument. I'm not saying I don't
God will bring them their perfect husbands.
right. I'm not saying I support what she did, or I don't support what she did, but I just think I'm a little concerned as to why social media is dragging her so much. If she's okay with the decision she made as a 33-year-old woman,
But I
why?
think that's kind of the point is that she's even from her engagement picture, is she really okay? Like did she really make this decision standing on all 10 toes? Like she's still not 100%. It's like almost like she was not still not 100% confident in her choice. That's the point I'm making in her decision. Because to me, someone who's 10 toes down, they're gonna post their man. They're not gonna be worried about critics. They're not gonna wait to their wedding day to post their man. They're gonna. I feel like the point I'm trying to make is that I get it. Like we talk about this whole privacy versus secrecy and why certain people don't really bring stuff out. But she knows why she posted a picture with the man's face not showing. Because from then people would have started giving her back. Oh, that's the guy. Now Nigerian people, they do they you cannot they dig. They would have started from then pulling his stuff. By the time her wedding comes, who even knows whether she should have a wedding? By the time she got married, what, like 3+ months ago? By the time, look what people are doing in less than 1 week.
Hmm.
Look at it. So if she showed that man from engagement, I don't know if they would even had a wedding because people that really dug and found in history, and she's then also the part about when you're meeting someone in this early phases, you're still like on cloud 9. right? You're in your emotion, just still like on this high. Real life and real dating hasn't set in yet. So she's still, on her high, and I get it. You sometimes you don't want people, bringing down your happiness. But I personally feel as if this is my take for a woman marrying a man that has that much history, and for a woman at her caliber in terms of stardom, I think they should have just kind of had kind of like a very low key basic wedding. Like I feel as if her having this like grand wedding put her out there and put the man out there and put them out there more for scrutiny and for people to really start coming at them. If they would have got married just in court and maybe had some one small triad somewhere, people would even I don't know if people would even been pulling this stuff out. But it's because she really put herself out there.
Oh no. Evie said she's in love. Being married was her top priority in her content. We all have been there, so it's not something to be ashamed of, be ashamed for. Women get deceived and only a few can walk away after finding things out. Mm. Mm, 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 mm. Mm, mm, mm.
I'm saying you don't understand why people are dragging Sharon.
Yeah, like I'm not saying obviously has a lot of history. I wouldn't want to be with a man that's married 3 times with kids, right? I think I could do like you married once and perfectly no kids, right? And even to that some people feel like why would you want that? You're a single woman, never been married with no children. But again, I know how life is working, right? I know how life works, and I always say this argument like people will be like, I don't want a guy with kids, which I totally understand. But at the same time, it's like if the guys that don't have kids are not being serious, and you meet a guy with one child that's being serious, does that mean you can't give the guy with one child a chance?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? I'm just trying to be fair and balanced because a lot of these guys that don't have kids, that's another reason why they're not serious because they know that they have like they're at an advantage. They know that being a successful, especially black man with no children, is a big deal, right? So they're not as pressed to settle down. They're not as pressed to, because they don't have anything against them. But any guy that's around our age with a child, he knows that's a disadvantage. For the most part, he knows most reasonable women don't want a man with a child. They don't want that. So I'm not saying that you should force yourself to want something because I don't want you to settle with something you don't really care about. If you know you don't want a man that has children, don't do it. I definitely understand why we wouldn't want to do it. But I just feel like the way people are dragging her online is like, why are they so worried about her marriage? Why are they so worried about her husband, his past?
Like eyes, yeah.
It's weird. I feel like it's really like even Chioma and Davido, I can even understand them more because they've been in the public eye for years, right? They've been in the eye for like 10 years, like almost 10 years. People really know them. People really know a lot about the relationship and the history and the baby mamas, and they've seen him with people, they've seen her with people. But this girl, like, no, like I just feel like the way they're dragging it is so random to me. Like, why do people care so much? Why do people care so much about her husband's past? She's 33. If she's okay with her husband's past, then why are people still doing their investigation and so caught up with like, I don't know. It's just kind of weird to me. Like,
I think the point I keep making is that even bringing it back to Trump's situation, I think a lot of people are just they're quick to look at women as victims. That's just the truth, especially with the history, patriarchy, all those things. So I think that when a lot of people come out and they speak to these relationships, I do think a lot of them do have good intentions and they kind of want to protect these women. So they feel as if the women are making decisions without the full story. The women are making decisions. They don't really know what, they're not really they're not properly informed decision makers. Like they don't really know what, because the real side of time is different when you know something. That's what I say all the time. We talk about dating on this channel, familiarity breeds contempt. You'll see a lot of people, they're in the city, they feel as if there's no good people in their city. I only date people out of town. Only date people out of state. Only date people out of country. There's no good people around me. And you know what comes with that mentality is the familiarity part. When you know so much about somebody, it's easy for you to look down on them and look at them in a different light. But like we talk about all the time, you'll go to the next city and go get a guy or girl who has a worse history, who is more like in the streets, who is maybe very promiscuous, who has a lot of stuff, but you look at that person as being better because you don't know their history. You know what I mean? So I feel like that's kind of how it's annoying, but that's how humans are. So when you know somebody, and so someone goes to your church, or someone is convenient, you look at them like, oh, I know this person, he slept with this girl, and she slept with that guy. The history kind of makes them less attractive to you. But when you meet this new person, that a lot of the attraction comes with the novelty and the newness. So it's different. I feel like sometimes we make certain decisions because we're able to make certain decisions easier because we don't know the full story. That's the point I'm trying to kind of make. Is because you don't really know that person that you're in love with them. It's because you don't really know that person that you're on cloud nine. It's because you don't really know that person that they even of interest to you. But if you really know them, if you really got to know them, really know their history, it wouldn't hit the same way.
Okay. Nigel Link said no, it couldn't have been a low key wedding. Some people live for the wedding and the marriage is the secondary thing. She looked very beautiful, but time will tell if this is legit or a big mistake.
Let's say, hey, yes, yes. I get it. So, like people are saying that sharing. Look at that guy's other weddings. His other weddings were like, come on, they were like years ago, of course, but like this wedding was sharing. Men usually don't even really care about this stuff to begin with. There's only few men who are into all this decor and into weddings and having some grand wedding. It was her vision, you could tell, and she executed it to like the 10. Like she did it. Like that was a bomb wedding, beautiful, amazing. Like she really did her thing. So some women just want that, but I think now that even Nigel Lee brings up this point, and we always talk about at a certain age, a lot of women kind of having to let go of the idea of a wedding, right?
Mhm.
I think when you say certain things like this in public, a lot of women kind of get offended because they feel as if you telling them not to have a wedding is kind of like it's almost like you telling them they can't have something they really want. And I think a part of the reason why sometimes people are not really into the whole wedding thing is because, especially as women, like we talk about Disney has done Disney has done a really big number on women specifically in terms of fairy tale not being a real world. A lot of women's desire to be married is attached to a lot of the aesthetics.
Aesthetics.
Thank you. And so to me, it's like when I see people who are like, I like you, you like me, we don't need to have a wedding. Hey, yeah, that's blessing. Hey, we were able to make it. I see a lot of women who are like, I'm not really crazy about the wedding. We don't have to do it. It's not to say they love the man more, that they're more in love than the people that did have weddings. That's not the point I'm making. But it shows that they are willing to let go of that, and that's not really all that they're after. Because a lot of women, let's be real, a lot of it
Well,
is,
maturity.
yeah, especially and that's why I said when you see women who are a certain age and they're still talking about a wedding, it just kind of sounds like you're not really in real world. Like you don't really know what people are talking about doing, like real important things right now, trying to get pregnant, trying to save monies, start a family, and you're worried about having this lavish wedding. So not to say that Sharon's in that case because she's still young or whatever, and she's a celebrity and she can afford it. So it's not like I don't feel like she's like breaking. I mean, I don't know her financial situation, right? But I feel like she's in Nigeria, like it's a bit different too because in Nigeria, like it's having a wedding is not as much planning, it's not as much time. Look, they didn't even know each other for a year allegedly. And look at the type of wedding they had. In Nigeria, you just have to have the money. If you have the money, you can plan a wedding in 2 weeks. Like it's not that big. It's not the way in America. It's like you need to plan this like a year in advance. You have to book a hall. Over there, is weddings work a little bit differently. But yeah, she had her dream wedding. I feel like also since we're on this point, is like I think sometimes we have to be careful, right? Because I remember seeing this one post someone has said about it was like years ago. I still have to say that on my Instagram, and someone was like, y'all spending 50K on a wedding. I'd rather buy a house. And a girl had responded, I'm gonna have a wedding and buy a house. Why are you guys why do you guys have such an either or mentality? Right. And I think that sometimes I feel like the reason why certain people don't move forward with things because they feel like if it doesn't work, it's kind of like embarrassing, right? Like let's say you go spend all this money on this elaborate wedding. They had a really huge wedding. Not I don't want to use them for example because I don't want to wish anything on them. But let's say someone like Anita Browns. She had that really, really big wedding and like months the wedding was over. Some people look at it like it's like that shame attached with it. But I don't think that's a healthy way to think because I feel like in life everything is risk. So because I go and spend 100K on a wedding tomorrow and God forbid it doesn't work, I don't think that it should be like a shameful thing or be embarrassing because I made the best decision based on how I felt and what I knew at that time. You know what I mean? So I don't think that is because I do think some people tread on that like I don't want to post my person because how about if it doesn't work or I don't want to do this because if it doesn't work, but I'm not really into that. I think you should be able to live your life, understand that nothing is guaranteed, and we all make mistakes. As even grown folks still making mistakes. So just do what you want to do and be happy.
Yep. Okay, so we're gonna finish up. Jashim said, "Devil's advocate: Is there really a difference between a divorce and a long-term relationship breakup, other than the paperwork? How long-term?" I think you do have a point. Because people that been together have kids, it's been together 10 years plus, been living to each other. They're basically married. Like that's basically a marriage without the paperwork. So I do understand that versus someone could known someone for a year, got married, get divorced. You can't tell me that's deeper than the 10 or 15-year relationship just because of the paper, right? So I don't know. I don't know how to answer that, but I do think that people need to heal, especially women. And I think it's very easy.
Not even just women or men. These men need to hit. Men need to
But I
heal.
think men do a better job. I think men like I don't think men really
I
jump in.
don't agree with you.
I
I
don't
don't.
think men really jump in and out of relationships after they come out of
What?
something serious. I think women do it more. I
No.
think women do it more, but I think men, when they go through a breakup, it was a woman they really loved, they usually take their time before they enter another serious relationship.
But I don't mean they don't have situationships. That's the point I'm saying. Men move on. I say it all the time. I personally believe that men move on quicker physically, but women move on quicker. I mean, I guess that's making your point that women move on quicker emotionally.
Yeah,
So
move on quicker emotionally. So a lot of women, like they never really give sometimes not all, but sometimes we don't give ourselves enough time to stay by ourselves. You know, you're lonely, you want that you want that companionship, you want someone to call you, you want someone to text you good morning. And that's natural, especially as you're getting older. It's natural to want companionship. Nothing is wrong with that. I think sometimes we shame women for that, but at the same time, just have to take your time.
don't be desperate. I say it all the time. People, especially men, they smell desperation. I feel like a lot of women, because they want that companionship, because they're getting older, because they start moving in a little bit of a desperate manner, and I feel like most times it doesn't really work out in their favor.
Mm. Okay, Evie said, I do agree that the whistleblowers have been giving malicious vibes about Sharon and Odogu. Yeah.
Odogu silencer. Yeah.
So I mean, we're gonna finish up now. If no one wants to join and give their opinions about Davido's marriage and Sharon's marriage.
What's
We're
the
gonna end. Sorry, Ngozi, what you say?
what's the take home message?
I think the take home is just that, like, I think we should just let people live.
Mm,
Honestly, I think we should let grown adults live and enjoy their life. And I think it's very sad that on people's wedding day, people are being so negative. Like,
mhm,
even if you want to be negative, can you wait like to a couple weeks? Can
right.
you wait until like next month? Like,
Choma's wedding, right?
yeah, like can we not just can people not just be happy? I just think this social media thing is just getting to another extreme, and then we wonder why people are posting people with their face covered. Like, because, like it's like you can't win. If you post with the face cover, people talk. You show it off, people talk. You don't post, people say, "Oh, she never posted her guy. She's ashamed of him." You know, like it's like nowadays this social media thing. And I understand these are celebrities, so it comes with the territory. But I do believe that you could be a celebrity and still be low key.
Yeah.
I don't think it's impossible, but I definitely don't think it's the average, right? But I do think it's possible, and I just wonder why a lot of the times we see all of this, people focus on the women. I've noticed that, right? Like
Mhm.
let's say like two guys went and got married right now, like like let's say like Moses Bliss had got married, and like other popular people get married. I don't really see people coming for the guys as much as they come for women. Like I feel like people are so preoccupied about who women marry.
The woman made versus the choice the man made.
Yes, I feel like people are so worried about who women are marrying and who they're in a relationship. When it's the other way around, I don't see people being as bothered.
No,
I
that's
don't
a good
s-
point.
I don't see people being as bothered. So I get it. Like with Moses Bliss is a little bit hyped because he married a Ghanaian, and people are like, oh, she's too basic. Like, and even then, people are attacking the woman still.
Mhm.
They're not even really coming for him. So I just wonder, why does it seem like when there's all these relationship saga, like people are so concerned about the woman when the woman is marrying a man?
Right. There's
It's
two people involved.
it's two people, but it seems like a woman is the one that's always getting the heat and always getting the blame and always getting the
Try and break it down. Let me try and answer that. I think the reason why women get a lot of the pushback is that the way society has crafted and designed, and no, not designed, but the way society has marketed marriage, that it's a woman. Like when a woman gets married, she's the one that has, like, she's made an accomplishment. It's not
hmm.
necessarily on the man's perspective. It's like the woman now has, elevated to another level. She's now a miss. She's now a mister and a miss. You ever think about this? Unmarried man or a married man is still mister.
Hmm.
It's the same MR. The woman is the one that changes from MRS to is MS to MRS. So it's the woman that she gets the last name. She's the one that changes her title. She's the one that gets the status. She's the one that quote unquote benefits from this union, right? So I think that that's why there's a lot of pressure on the women to, whether it's to get married, to maintain a marriage, to marry the right person. I feel like a lot of that pressure is put more on women than on men, because at the end of the day, the way, especially in a country like Nigeria, I don't feel like a man's value goes down because he's not married. Like, I don't think that. Not to say people won't be like, "Yo, what are you doing? You need to." But it's like, if you look at Davido and Chioma getting married, it's almost like Choma's the winner. She's the one that won. People are not looking at it as much like Davido married the love.
Because she married a celebrity. That's why people look
You
at it like,
think so?
yeah. Because she's married. She married up. She
Yeah,
married
that's
up.
still her argument. Hmm.
Yeah, she wasn't in that social class. She wasn't she's not from a rich family. So people are going to say trauma won because she secured the bag by
Hmm.
marrying a rich guy like Davido. So I can understand that one to an extent, but I don't know. Like it's just
We're tying it up, but what can we learn from Chioma Adeleke or Sharon Ooja? Like, what are the, like, in terms of how they've moved, the decisions they made? What would you say that we can learn from them?
people were praising trauma, calling her patient.
Oh yes, and that's what's triggering to a lot of people as well, because a lot of people take it as you just let someone, quote unquote, just behave anyhow, and then eventually he'll marry you. What is it? The patient dog eats the fattest bone. There's a lot of that type of like rhetoric, like basically, and a lot of men were hailing trauma
Mm.
specifically, not just women. Like, see, basically, 'cause a lot of men they want to be able to move like a Davido, and women to condone it, right? So trauma is kind of like giving them that like example, like look what trauma endured and
Mhm.
look how it ended it for her. You guys need to learn from trauma. You girls need to be more like trauma. You girls need to endure more. Stop 1, 2, 3. They cheat one time, you're running away. Men are men. That's in their nature. You guys need to allow more back, allow more. And of course, that when you talk about the cheating part, you've taken it to the extreme.
Mhm.
Because I can't, as much as we know, like, nature and men are men, and I can't open my mouth and tell women to accept that, because there's a lot that comes with that, right? But you see it when you're trying to be objective, right? You see from the angle they're coming at us, and like basically a lot of women, from a male's perspective, a lot of men believe that a lot of women just don't have realistic expectations for men. Like
Mm.
they're too quick to walk away, they're not patient, they're not tolerant enough. So be like a trauma and see what happens. But then a lot of men don't want to realize, they don't also end in the fact that they're not Davidos.
Right.
They're not rich like Davido. They're not giving the girls a lifestyle like Davido. So you can't make the equal comparison. Trauma didn't go through all of this allegedly with an average Joe. She didn't. She's still, what I mean. She's going through it with a man of a certain status, but they forget that part.
Let me read this quote before we end. Someone have made this post. All of a sudden, all of you women are happy for Trauma marrying Davido. I thought you all said a cheating man is a bad husband. Women are not against polygamy. They just don't want it with a poor man. So how is Trauma I don't understand it. Trauma is not in a polygamous marriage. So how
They're
can
conflating polygamy with just being with a cheater. That's what they're conflating them as the same thing. Basically saying that women are not against cheating, they're against cheating when it comes from average men, which I don't agree with, at least in America. I don't 100% agree with that. I think that no, there's a cultural difference. That's why I think a lot of people were bringing up Nigerian men, were bringing up these two people that got married in Nigeria. The mindset there is different. The culture is different. Of course, women are more accepting of that type. They're more tolerant of that type of behavior. There's a difference. Of course, you can't take that away from. You can't have this conversation or talking about that without mentioning that these two people got married in Nigeria. They didn't get married in America. These are not American people. I mean, David was born in America, but you know what I mean? Like, these are not American people born, raised. These people are still have that Nigerian mindset. So a lot of things that are acceptable for them, for the average American, is not going to be acceptable.
and like
And
we said, that's makes sense as to why we see more marriage happening in other countries like Nigeria,
you
because
know,
the men could still live a normal life and do what they want and still be married.
a lot of
Versus
men also make the argument that benefits women, because women have, quote unquote, they're going to have more. They have more. They're getting married more. They have more options. But when you go to a society that doesn't allow men to, quote unquote, be men, look at the outcome. So yeah, they're in a society where there's a pat on the hand. Women are more tolerant, they're more accepting, they're more forgiving of that type of behavior, for sure. But we have to compare equal things. And a lot of people don't talk about the dark sides of that type of behavior. It's not about just letting. But look, at Davido has how many children outside of her, right? You don't know what he could have potentially been giving her. You don't know how many things he could have. You don't know all these things, so you can't talk about a good of something without also bringing out the bad. And a lot of times that bad outweighs the good. That's why people, excuse me, that's why people don't want to deal with it, because it's not easy, and you don't know the mental state
Mm.
that a lot of women are broken. That's the deep what it does to a woman's self-esteem, what
Worth.
women's self-worth, what it does to their trust, gives you anxiety. I can't even imagine. There's no money you could pay me to be with a cheating man, like knowingly. I don't think so. But I do understand, just because I won't do something, I understand that people are different, everyone's circumstances are different, and I understand why certain women tolerate it. And of course, women also tolerate it until they get tired. Everyone has their own tipping point. When we see a lot of these celebrities, even in Nigeria, when it gets to a level they can't tolerate anymore, they do walk away. They do walk away. So because you can't make everyone's tolerance the same. We're not the same. I think it would be a bit unfair. People are different.
Yeah. Well, on that note, thank you guys all for joining us. We had to come up with a live today and discuss this topic because this has been trending over the last week. I don't think we'll be live next Tuesday, but we're going to be doing the every other Tuesday. So it'll be the Tuesday after that. Stay tuned for a new video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we will see you all later. Bye.